Good afternoon. So here's my little classroom. And I came across a tweet by this gentleman, Bret Weinstein. So you can see I no longer follow him, but it showed up in my timeline. That can happen. So we're going to establish once again he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. How do we establish that? Well, first I'll read his pinned tweet. A movement opposes science when it doesn't want assertions tested, challenges arithmetic when its claims don't add up, ridicules merit when it wants to triumph by other means, seeks to censor when it fears discussion. Those who coddle such demands sow the seeds of our undoing. Now, if you read that, which was stated on August 14, 2020, you see, wow, those sentiments, really noble. But you only need to look a little into his timeline, and you'll see these sentiments are rooted in an alternate reality. Let me say that again. These sentiments are rooted in an alternate reality. Here is what he said or wrote down an hour ago. These artists have a right to remove content in protest. But make no mistake, their intent is to force Spotify to censor Joe Rogan so that you and I can no longer choose for ourselves whether to listen. They're on the wrong side of history. Truth persuades. It doesn't coerce. And I was going through the comments. Now more have been added since I looked into it some 20 minutes ago. And you can look at comments made by people who are evidently better informed, less biased, and more realistic than Bret Weinstein. Let's take the first comment. How Twitter arranges these comments is interesting in itself. Either it's by the number of replies one gets, retweets, or some other criteria, or all of those together inform the algorithm. No one is sitting there manually arranging these comments. Could be by time as well, but a lot of factors go into how the comments are arranged. So Michael Dickel, what does he say? Governments aren't allowed to censor. Companies are. And promoting false information for profit is reprehensible, not by Rogan and Spotify. Your argument is hot air nonsense. No company is required to promote false information, so you can choose to believe BS. Excuse me. As you can tell, I still have that cough. I agree with you entirely, Professor, but I'm not a fan of the term wrong side of history, as individuals lack the prescience to know what is the right or wrong of a situation until after it has occurred. Many seem, to me, to like to use the phrase offensively preventing debate. Joseph McKeever. Bret Weinstein replies, I share this concern about claiming to be on the right side, but the wrong side is easier. The censorious are telling us they are wrong. Their arguments must succeed by force. Did the discussion continue? It is generally easier to identify the negative rather than the positive. I have just been subject to many aspersions and dismissals by those claiming moral majority to the extent the phrase itself gives me the creeps. And of course, Bret will not continue the conversation. He can reply once, but to continue a conversation takes a level of persistence, intelligence, and the attitude of not caring about what society would make of it. So the conversation ended there. Ronan O'Reilly. Even if Spotify got rid of Rogan, it won't matter. All he has to do is set up his own website and people will still listen. Exactly, anyone can podcast. It's his choice to be exclusively on their site that risks any censorship. He can take his podcast and leave, and the only thing at risk there is the tremendous amount of money they were paying him. The only one that will lose is Spotify. Rogan doesn't give a bleep what people think. Well, you expect certain language in the absence of vocabulary or intelligence or both. It's surreal watching this play out. I'm in New Zealand and was talking to a friend today about how everything I was paranoid about when we entered our second lockdown has sadly been thoroughly validated. There is no end game for some, only a doubling down to avoid accountability. Rosie NZ. Yep, most especially our PM. Jacinda Ardern. This lady. I follow her. Since when and why? I don't know. Anyhow, yep, most especially our PM Jacinda Ardern. She and other globalist leaders have dug a rather large hole. We either need to find a way to fill it in, or we all fall in. That term globalist is just thrown around like when everyone wants to. Does it even mean anything to these people? I have no idea. This is the reply that I liked. This was 59 minutes ago that this gentleman, Koan Z, said, I don't understand where Bret was when other episodes of Joe were taken down. Spotify has so far removed 40 episodes. Now, this is something I didn't know. And I marked this because this is new information to me. I was completely unaware. So thank you, Koan Z. And Beavis, this gentleman was up there too. I think his comment in a reply to someone else. There a list of what has been removed somewhere? And yes, there is a list. Spotify has removed 40 Joe Rogan episodes. Let's look at that. You see, Twitter is a place where you can really learn some things faster than on a search engine. I don't know. I could test this theory actually, because Twitter is easily a place also where you can get misinformed. But if you are on Twitter and you go through the replies, you can come across some new information. And this is new to me. So what's the name of the article? Spotify has removed 40 Joe Rogan episodes to date. Here's the full list. This is from March 30, 2021. And what does the heading say? Earlier this month, Joe Rogan confirmed that Spotify had removed a few episodes as a condition of their 100 million multi-year deal. That appears to be a slight understatement. So how much is a few exactly? According to a tally compiled by longtime Rogan followers, Spotify scrubbed at least 40 episodes from the Joe Rogan Experience as part of its $100 million exclusive deal with the podcaster. We also double-checked the tally and indeed found the episodes missing. Those episodes aren't available on Spotify currently and never made it onto the platform. Excuse me. I'll leave the link to this article if and when I upload this to YouTube. I think I would upload this to YouTube. I'm going on a little over 11 minutes. I'm not going to spend more than 15 minutes on this issue, but that's all the information I need to look at. Started out with the Bret Weinstein, but this is the more important thing actually. So what does the second paragraph say? Almost immediately after Spotify started transitioning episodes, a number of Rogan followers discovered some glaring omissions. At first, fans noticed that interviews with more controversial guests like Alex Jones and Milo Yiannopoulos were omitted, though neither Spotify nor Rogan offered any comment on the matter. And here is the list. As for the list, these are 40 titles we've confirmed as missing. You can go through the list, and that is all you'll need to do. So I'll leave the link for this as I upload this to YouTube. What I'd be interested in is, after all this information comes through Bret Weinstein, I'm only going through this as an observer. I'm not a participant in this discussion, other than I marked that one tweet where I found some new information. What I'm interested in is Bret Weinstein, the person who started the conversation and then is responded to with all these comments. How does he respond to the information that he comes across? And that would establish what sort of a person he is, what he thinks, how he thinks, and what he believes in. That is what I'm interested in finding out. I'll upload this to YouTube, and I have my doubts about this man. It's not that one tweet is going to sorry. It's not like one tweet and the responses coming from it are going to change his mind, because you have to look at the history of the man that has been built over a long period. A long time. And there you can look at the pattern. So I'm going to now stop the video, and I'm done. Excuse me for disturbances because of my cough or sounds coming from the outside businesses. I'm done, and I'll upload this to YouTube. Thank you very much for your time, and goodbye.